I'm Mona Powell, formerly with Leonard's HVAC. We were licensed for 32 years. Now we're doing consulting with Liberty Heating and Air, and we are just good at what we do, especially when it comes to talking to the ladies about the heat pumps. We want to make sure that everybody understands how to take care of the heat pump and how to keep the heat pump from costing you too much money. People often say you should have your system serviced twice a year. It really depends on what type of system you have. A heat pump can be serviced once a year. Make sure you change the filters properly, keep her clean, she's good. Now, if you have gas, it is important that you service it at the beginning of the winter to make sure that the firebox and everything is in good shape and you're not putting out carbon monoxide and things like that. You don't have that issue with the heat pump. So the beginning of the summer, early summer is going to be the best time to do that. But in this area, heat pumps are quite popular. You can, if you look at your thermostat and see if you got a setting on there for, or even for smart thermostat, something that says auxiliary heat or emergency heat, lets you know that you actually have a heat pump. And that means you heat and cool with Freon, okay? Because you could have a heat pump, you could have a gas furnace, you could have an oil furnace. Now, if you have what people say total electric, that's very, very expensive, okay? And most houses don't have that. You want to know if you have a heat pump, but you also want to know what type of heat pump do you have. There's a split and there's a package. And people think you have to have a college degree to figure it out. We're going to figure it out in 2 seconds, okay? Split systems means it's split in two pieces. The air conditioner is in the yard and the furnace is underneath the house. So it's split in two pieces. That's why it's a split system, okay? I personally have a package unit here. That means it's all packaged in one place. The air conditioner is up top and the heating or the furnace is down at the bottom, okay? If it was split, this piece would be under the house. So I have a package unit. I tell customers if I can't walk behind my unit and it's attached to the house, then it's packaged. If it's not attached to the house and I can walk behind it, it's split. Okay? And if it's split, that means I have a piece that's either under the house, in the closet, or in the attic, because that furnace has to be located somewhere. Okay? There is no difference between the two when it comes to efficiency. It's just a matter of preference. We get questions each and every day about filters. Okay, and how often they should be changed, what type of filter should I get. Filters should be changed every 30 days like clockwork. Do y'all remember back in 2020 when everybody had to wear masks? And you couldn't even breathe out of the mask to start with. But if you got one that was really thick, you couldn't breathe out of it at all. And it's no different than your air conditioner. When you put that thick filter on top of it, it can't breathe, okay? So if it can't breathe, it can't operate properly to give you the proper heat or cooling, okay? So if you change it, we need a nice thin filter. Just a cheap, inexpensive filter is going to be fine. Every 30 days to keep it clean. Don't wash it out and put it back because all that does is loosen the dirt and the dirt gets sucked back into the return. You know, when you walk close to the return, people say, what is the return? That area in the house where the filter goes and the air seems like it's being pulled back inside. And it is. It's pulling all the air from inside the house. Believe it or not, all of the air inside the house goes through that to go back to the unit. And the unit can't breathe if you get it clogged, okay? So the filter needs to be changed. I know sometimes people say the filter's dirty, I'm just gonna take it out. Oh, I feel like you pinched me. You can take it out, but you need to go get one the same day to put one back in. But just every 30 days, thicker is not better. For some of the newer units, you can use some of the thicker ones because they're more efficient. But some of the older ones, you cannot. And all it does is it suffocates the unit when the filters are too thick and the system can't breathe. So just make it a habit to do it. It doesn't have to be the first of the month. It doesn't matter. The same time you pay the light bill, same time you pay the cable, same time you pay the water, something that you do every month. You want to make sure you change that filter regularly. When it comes to the type of thermostats that we have with our systems, okay, there are some thermostats that can help you save money, right? The smart thermostats or the programmable thermostats. And what they do is they come on and go off at a certain time of day, okay? You know, so you don't have to come home and the house is scorching hot and you turn it on and it runs hard, cost you more money. Okay, so if you can set that programmable thermostat so the system comes on 2 hours before you're going to be home, or an hour. You probably only need 30 minutes or so. Okay, and the system will come on, run a little bit at a time to warm the house up or to cool the house down. That's the best way to do it. Okay, if you play with the thermostat, it's going to cost you money. People have a habit of, well, you know what? I don't need a programmable. I will just turn it off when I go to work, and I will turn it on when I come home. Don't do that, because when you turn it off, everything in the house, in the summertime, everything in the house starts to warm up. Everything. And in the wintertime, everything in the house starts to cool off. And then when it's time, when you come home and you say, oh, it's cold in here, or it's hot, and you play with the thermostat, the unit has to run twice as hard to heat up everything in the house before you actually feel it on your body. okay? So you're wasting energy, okay? And then you can't figure it out until you get that extremely high light bill. So a programmable thermostat or the smart thermostat's even better, you know, because if I'm going to be late, I can tell my thermostat when I'm going to be home. We have one customer that's really into technology. He has his smart thermostat set up with his watch, so it knows when he's home. he doesn't have to tell anything. It knows when he's headed home, you know, and the thermostat can change, you know. And those thermostats it's just a matter of preference, but they will save you money, you know, because playing with the thermostat is the absolute worst thing you can do with a heat pump. Let's talk about some of those do's and don'ts of the heat pump. And the don'ts are what we really want to hit on. Okay? Don't take the filter out and just say, you know, I don't need one because it was dirty. Don't do that. Okay? When you cut the grass, don't throw the clippings toward the air conditioner. Okay? Because all it does is it clogs it up. All right? When the temperatures are varying, don't play with the thermostat. Don't do that. Okay? It costs you more money. If you're going out of town, don't turn it completely off, because you never know what's going to happen. Don't have the furniture sit in the house where it's blowing straight directly on you, okay? Because if you're not used to a heat pump, you'll find that air that's coming out of that register or that vent, it actually feels cool to the touch. It's warm enough to heat the house, but it's actually cool to the touch because our body, we're at, what, 98 degrees? 96, 90, you know? But the air coming out of the temperature, out of the register is what, 75, 78? So it feels cool, so we instantly think it's not working, okay? So it's designed to heat and cool the room, not to blow directly on you. So you don't want to have your furniture sitting directly where you feel the draft from a heat pump blowing, okay? Those are the don'ts. Okay, we have customers all the time that would try to compare. They'll say, well, last month my utility bill wasn't this much, or last year at this time my utility bill was only $100 and now it's $150. You know, it takes a whole lot of research to be able to do something like that, okay? We look at the numbers, but we never stop to think, what was the temperature back then versus the temperature now, okay? And people can say what they want to say. You know, the days are just a lot hotter now than they used to be. That's just point blank. And that's why our codes are changing when it comes to the type of systems that we install and the efficiencies, because the units have to be made differently to keep up, because things have changed. So when you start looking at that utility bill to compare, you've got to go back and do a little homework, and you can Google that too, and find out what was the temperature on that day. Not just that day. You need to go back at least a week before that. See what the temperature was for that whole week. And now look at the temperature of the week you're talking about and see if you can do some comparison. Because sometimes it's almost impossible to compare. Just because last June my light bill was only $120 does not mean that this June my light bill is going to be $120. It just varies. And everybody knows right about now that the temperature is unpredictable. I am always willing to share information when it comes to the HVAC side. Everybody seems to think that it's such an intricate beast that you have to have a license or you have to be doing this for 40 years before you can understand it. That is not so. You know, I mean, it's just like everything else. It's just tips and tricks and learning a few basics when it comes to it, okay? You know, and I find in most cases, most of my female customers are the ones that are apprehensive. They think I can't learn it. Not so. If you can raise children and a husband at the same time, we love y'all, but you know how that goes. Then you can learn all the specs on your heating and air conditioning system, because it's no different than your washing machine or the stove inside the house, okay? It's just on the outside, and everybody thinks it's just this big beast that you don't know anything about. And it's not that difficult. I typically give some customers sometimes a basic HVAC 101 class in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all I need of their time. And now they know everything they need to know about handling their unit, what the blower is, so when it goes out, which blower is out, what's the problem? So when you talk to a technician, you can tell them quickly what the problem is. And in most cases, if you know how to handle the unit, then you can kind of pin it down yourself. Okay? So it's not so difficult that you can't learn it. You just need somebody to be able to break it down to you in English. People have a habit of talking HVAC talk. I talk English. Let's not be intimidated by our heating and air conditioning system, okay? It's not such a beast that we can't understand what she's doing, okay? And if you have not had it serviced for the year, because I know we talked about the best times at the beginning of the summer, if you have not done it for the year, then you definitely do it before winter, okay? Because you want to make sure the Freon level is good, all right? And if you have any other questions or problems about that heating system, feel free to contact PwC. If you need that 5-minute HVAC 101 session and just need somebody to just explain a few things, we're always here at Leonard's HVAC to help you out.